I was in 5th grade. There was a set time during school one day for classes to come into the band room and hear the two band teachers talk about the different instruments and encourage students to pick one and join band. I kept thinking, I can never do that. I'm not a musician and I never have the kind of musical talent to play an instrument. So I sat through the talk, paying attention but not really caring. I had never really participated in anything extracurricular in school, but I was stunned when my best friend Christine looked at me and said, I'm going to join band and play the flute. Her mom bought her a flute that very day. I was still skeptical, but Christine and I did everything together, so I convinced my mom to accompany me to an open house that the school was having for students who wanted to join band. The next day, my mom rented me a flute, and I went to the first band class with my friend Christine. I was hooked for the next 5 years. Playing the flute gave me a musical talent that I never knew I had, and it was the first experience with the arts that I was successful at and actually enjoyed. It consumed my time and perhaps changed my life. I would spend hours each day practicing, and I had a ton of great experiences at concerts and playing with classmates. Plus, my musical appreciation was hugely expanded, but I would never have done it hadn't it not been for that one best friend Christine, who I'd happened to meet that year in 5th grade. In middle school, Mr. O'Neill, a very young but very passionate and enthusiastic teacher, patiently worked with us and developed our musical skills and our musical ear. We had regimented practice schedules, over an hour each day at home in addition to our class time, and we learned to play sheets upon sheets of music that could, and did, fill several binders. At the end of middle school, I remember being very nervous about continuing band in high school, especially since we had to attend a week-long summer camp prior to starting the fall marching band season. I can't tell you how relieved I was when I got a call from Mr. O'Neill just before the week-long camp. Have you heard the news? He asked. I'm going to be the new band teacher at Columbine High School, so I'll see you next week at the camp. Suddenly, I wasn't so nervous. I would go to the camp and give it my best, even though my best friend from the past 4 years of band was going to a different high school, and several of my other band friends had decided to not continue band in high school. There was only one girl that I knew who was going to join the Columbine marching band with me. But having Mr. O'Neill again as the teacher made it all so much easier, and it solidified my decision to continue with band. Throughout the whole semester of drills and marches and bus rides and parades in the pouring rain or performances in the freezing Colorado cold, the marching band became a sort of extended family. We were all friends, and we all laughed and joked and complained and celebrated together. I can't remember ever feeling like I belonged somewhere as much as I did that semester in the Columbine marching band. So as you can imagine, it was quite a shock when my parents told me that we were going to move to Reno, Nevada, during the middle of the year over winter break. We would have to finish the rest of the school year at another school in a whole other state. And let me tell you, the school that I attended for the next year and a half in Reno was nothing like the nice, predominantly white, middle-class schools that I had previously gone to in Colorado. The new high school was extremely diverse, with low socioeconomic status and record-low graduation rates. I didn't want to give up the huge amount of time that I had already invested in band, though, so I decided to join the new school's symphonic band for the last semester of my freshman year. Although I still loved the flute, I quickly noticed that I didn't belong in that band. The students tried to be nice to me, but I felt like an outsider the whole time. I rarely even played my flute during band class for fear of being singled out or for playing something the wrong way. I was used to playing with my band back in Colorado, and it felt strange to play in theirs. I was a proficient flute player, and I had been since I started in 5th grade, but even so, during the practices and performances at this new high school, I would usually just move my fingers to the right notes on the flute, but not make any sound. I got through the semester, but I quit band the next year without hesitation. And that sums up my 5 years of musical experience. My story shows that it's not enough to just give students the opportunities to express themselves with the arts. They need support. They need role models, motivation, and a feeling of community to encourage them to pursue their talent and continue in their artistic endeavors. If I had stayed at Columbine High School, I would have continued in band for the next 3 years of high school and possibly pursued it in college as well. But my musical career was cut short by the feeling of not belonging in the new high school in Nevada. All in all, I am extremely grateful for the music experience that I had for those 5 years. Knowing that I could have musical talent, me, someone who had never ever considered herself artistic in any way, gave me huge amounts of self-confidence, not to mention a growth mindset and a much more cultured background. The long hours I spent tirelessly practicing while sitting on my bed or on the piano stool, transforming sheets of music filled with black notes and other abstract symbols into the majestic flowing sounds of the flute, gave me a sense of dedication and a sense of awe and respect for the world of music and the other arts. The people in my band class gave me a group of friends and a place that I belonged for the time that I knew them. I still play the flute on occasion, and my little sister is also learning it now. I know how to read music, and I am trying to expand my abilities by teaching myself the guitar and the piano whenever I have free time. But I would have never realized my musical abilities or even wanted to play musical instruments had it not been for my decision in 5th grade to take up the flute. To be sure, I would not notice and appreciate it as much every single time the flute appears in a piece of music, like it does in one of my favorites called Cold as Stone by Lady Antebellum. These are the things that just a few years of music have given me, and they are things that I would absolutely not trade or change.
Watching you walk away, I wouldn't hurt like this. I feel so all day long. Wish I was cold as stone.